Now, very often we'll start a DIY job at home, only to realize that it takes longer to complete, it costs more, and it adds no value to the resale price of the property. Well, today we are debunking some of the most common DIY myths, and to help us do that is Graeme Steen, CEO of Candoer.com. Graeme, welcome to All About Property.
Thanks for having me, Cornelius.
Now, I think let's first understand, what is Candoer.com?
Sure. So Candoer.com is an online marketplace that connects customers to contractors. So basically what you need to do is you go onto Candoer.com, you search the job that you're looking for. So we have 30,000 contractors across 100 different services. You type in plumbing job, put in your details, and we'll put you in touch with up to 5 contractors who are vetted, who can give you quality quotes for quality work.
And this is a service available anywhere in South Africa?
Available nationwide.
Okay. Now, Graeme, you've decided to come chat to us today about 5 home improvement myths that you believe people should know about. So you've identified your first one. You say here, the first myth is you need to go big or go home.
Yeah.
Why is that a myth?
When people do a renovation, they think, I need to renovate everything, big bang, let's make sure that we really increase the value of your property. But you're not always going to get your money back from that. So what we say is be a lot more selective in terms of what you renovate, right? Your kitchen, your bathroom, your floors, generally there you'll get some money back. But even when you're doing that, you need to look at what your expenses, right? My rule of thumb is if you're spending more than 10%, you're probably going to...
10% of what?
10% of your home value.
Okay.
You're probably going to be overcapitalizing your home, putting in more money than you're ever going to get out. And even on that, you should look at homes in your area to make sure that you're not going to be the most expensive home by 50% in terms of what the return you want to get when you eventually sell your home.
And I suppose in the same note, a lot of the time when people are in the process of selling the properties, they think they have to sort of redo everything. But the next owner does not really want what you put in place. So what are you suggesting there when you're about to put your property on the market? What type of renovation should you look at?
Yeah, again, it's really focusing on the key areas. As I said, what new home buyers are looking for, bathroom, flooring, kitchen, you'll get your return. If you're putting in any kind of fancy fixtures and fittings, anything trendy, anything like that, you're probably not going to get your money back. You really need to maybe put a coat of paint up and you'll get some money back, but you're ultimately selling this home. So don't build it for yourself, do it for a home buyer who's going to be looking at those things. Okay,
now let's look at your next myth. You say here, renovations are quick and easy. There I can definitely agree, doing it myself.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we've all watched Extreme Home Makeover, so we all think it's going to be quick. And even if we intuitively know it's not going to, we don't think it's going to be as painful as it could be. So when you're going into renovation, just know that you're starting a big project and it's really going to take some time. And when you talk to your contractor, you should get a good contractor, talk about what the timelines will be and what's the best timeline, but also what's the worst timeline. Because unfortunately, you'll often get the best timeline, but we know 90% of the time you're going to miss that, right? And as we were discussing, if you're looking at your timelines, if it's going to end in December as well, you need to be a bit careful because those things start to slip. So just get ready for a big project, and it's going to be a bit painful, but it'll be worth it in the end.
And I suppose we look at all these American renovation shows where the entire renovation happens in one episode. Not necessarily the case.
No, listen, unfortunately, you're not going to knock down a wall, bring in 300 contractors and then have a big reveal the next day, right? Unfortunately, it's a big project. You're spending a lot of money. You want to take the time to do it properly.
Great. Now, the third myth you're saying is upgrade your home in line with the latest trends. I wouldn't have thought that this is a myth because, I mean, if you have a blue bathroom, would you not want to upgrade that to something more modern?
There are upgrades that you can do, but you have to be really careful with trends. If we go back to the 70s and you walk into a house that was renovated in the 70s, you know it was in the 70s, right? Or with some big features. So be very careful on trends. I'm not saying don't do it. If it's something you love, do that renovation, but you probably won't get the money back on that.
Now, the fourth myth, you say swimming pools add value.
Yeah.
Why is that a myth?
It's quite counterintuitive, right? I think also we live in South Africa, a lot of us have swimming pools, and you think, I put in this big expense, it's going to increase the value of my home immediately. That's not what we see, unfortunately.
So a swimming pool does not increase the value of the property?
No, it does not increase the value of a property. Why is that? Is because ultimately, whenever you're putting in a pool, you're making a decision that a buyer then might not have made, right? So a buyer comes in, there's maintenance on a pool, right? They might have a young family and think, oh, this could be something dangerous. It just reduces your pool of buyers, sorry for the pun, and then ultimately that means if you have less buyers, you're not going to really see that increase. It might be net where you put in 100,000 in a pool, you get 100,000 out, but again, if we're talking about increasing the value of your home for selling, a pool's not always a no-brainer.
Okay, your fifth myth, you say, doing it yourself is the cheapest way to renovate. I think we all know that's a huge myth.
Yeah, it's a huge myth. I think it's sometimes, it hurts us a little bit because DIY is great, right? We
like doing things on our own.
You feel that value, you've put the work in, you can see it there. Unfortunately, what often happens is if you're not someone who is a specialist, right? You haven't gone and done this 100 times, 10,000 times. So you're doing it for the first time, and what we see is when people do DIY, unfortunately, there are often errors that happen, right? If you are tiling or doing laminate floors or something like that, you don't know fully what you need to do to make sure that that lasts for the next 10 years.
Yes.
And then what happens is you make a mistake, you have to bring a contractor in to fix that mistake. It's much more expensive because they have to then tear everything up and redo it again. So my advice is always, don't cut DIY out from your life, right? Put up shelves, do all those things, they feel great. But if you're doing something that has a big expense, especially if that big expense is materials that you might have to replace, just get the right people in. There's a reason why contractors exist, because they are the specialists in doing this.
Well, that's fantastic. Graeme, thank you so much for your time.
Awesome, thank you so much, Cornelius.